Hey, welcome back to Breakfast with Bridgett on Tuesday, February 13th. I'm not Bridgett. I'm Crystal Moyer filling in for her today so she can go see her kids for a little bit. So we've been talking about Valentine's Day. That's coming up tomorrow. And, some people have been dealing with losses in their family or maybe a loved one, or maybe someone who's dealing with a loss right now and wondering, how can I support that person? So I want to bring in Charles Parker. He is the bereavement coordinator at Health First, can give us some insight into all this. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Crystal. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm very blessed to have my husband here and my family in good health, but some people are dealing recently or maybe in the past with a loss in their family or with a loved one. And with holidays like Valentine's Day, when it's all about love, that could be a difficult time for them.
Yes, it sure can be. And Valentine's Day is an interesting one, really, because, many times there's not like the kind of the deep-seated family memories as far as like Thanksgiving and Christmas and some other holidays, maybe, and like birthday, as you were mentioning earlier. But Valentine's Day can be a difficult day for some people if they've lost a loved one, somebody that they loved for desperately for many, many years. And so we find sometimes that it can be a difficult day. So first thing I always encourage people, in the past, I was a competitive runner, and we always had this saying to don't try anything new on race day. And so I always encourage people that kind of the same thing on a day like Valentine's Day is don't try anything overly new. Try to stay in your same routine if you're grieving the loss of someone. And if you're somebody that has not been socializing too much, then I would encourage, just like you were talking earlier with about staying home and cuddling up on with a blanket. Stay home and cuddle up and get a box of chocolates and just enjoy some quiet time. Maybe stay off social media. A lot of people post a lot of things on Valentine's Day with their loved ones, and that might be something that could be a potential bother for you. Maybe try something that we call for your eyes only journaling, where you're just going to write some things down about your loved one to bring up some fond memories and some nice thoughts. And then you can either, keep it and tuck it away for later, or just wad it up and throw it away. But getting those thoughts out on paper sometimes is helpful.
I love that. I love the journaling and kind of remembering, your loved one. And maybe someone wants to use this opportunity to honor their loved one.
Yes.
What are some ways that you can honor a loved one that has passed?
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking about that, and sometimes we've had some different things that we use for other kind of holidays and to help honor loved ones. And I thought of this, that might be something interesting to do. You could go to a local Hallmark store and maybe buy a gift card, and then a note to the gift card that you hope that this gift card blesses someone. Then give it to the cashier and say, the next person that comes into the Hallmark store that's going to buy a little gift or a card for their loved one, they can buy it for free. Give them the gift card to use. That way you can make a purchase in a way, but you're honoring your loved one by passing along a gift to somebody else.
That is so sweet. I love that, giving back to someone. I think that,
Right.
is satisfying for yourself, but obviously could honor, a loved one in that way as well. If maybe someone, maybe you have a friend or a family member who is dealing with that right now, with the loss of a loved one, how can we better support them during this time?
Well, one thing I want to mention about people in grief is we live near the water here on the Space Coast, and so we always kind of use the water as a metaphor for grieving. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell people when they're early in grief, it's like they've walked out into the ocean and they're in a rip current, and they just have to kind of hang on. Don't try to fight it, just kind of hang on. But then once they're out of that rip current, they're still kind of in some bobby, wavy water sometimes. And an important thing to do when you're in that is to kind of metaphorically just take a deep dive under and live moment to moment. And so when we realize that that's how people in grief can react, then we need to support them in that. Some things to always do when we're supporting people in grief is, of course, just active listening, empathetic listening, letting them have a safe space to tell some stories about their loved one on a day like Valentine's Day. Be encouraging. Um, let them do what they need to do. So if you've got a friend and you maybe call them up and say, hey, I know that you're alone today on Valentine's Day. Would you like to go out and have coffee? If the person says no, then honor that, and
Mm-hmm.
just let them do what they need to do. But if it's somebody who's kind of been regularly socializing, it's a cool thing to maybe get them out of the house. We have support groups here with Hospice of Health First, and I have one of my regularly scheduled support groups tomorrow afternoon, and it's a really fun support group. We have about 6 or 8, and most of them are kind of elderly 75, 80-year-old widows
Mm-hmm.
and widowers. And so we're going to have a little Valentine party tomorrow. I'm going to have some cookies for
Oh,
them, and
that's
we're
so
just going to
cute.
have some time where they can talk about their loved ones a little bit. So they've kind of gotten out of their shell and are socializing a bit within the support group system. And so we offer that. We have support groups both in our Melbourne office and our Merritt Island office. And you can call Hospice of Health First to ask about that if you're in our area and are interested.
Well, thank you so much, Charles Parker, bereavement coordinator at Health First. We really appreciate your take on this and your advice, especially as we are heading into Valentine's Day. And this is advice we can use for, any holiday, or
Yes.
just if you know someone who's going through, grieving process, how to support them. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Crystal. You have a blessed day, and hope you have a nice day tomorrow as well.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Okay, bye bye.
All right, some great advice there that you could pass on to your family and friends. And, one thing he mentioned was self care. And I think that's something important for all of us, whether you have a loved one or not. Self care is super important. And if you're looking to say, what should I get for myself, or what can I do to make myself feel good, a Consumer Reports tested some products and has some advice for you. If self care involves a cup of joe made with love and little effort, Consumer Reports has you covered. The Keurig K Mini Plus is convenient to use and comes in fun colors that will brighten your morning even before you've had that first sip of caffeine. And while testers found it isn't especially fast, it does make a remarkably consistent cup of coffee. And no matter the season, loving and protecting your skin from the sun is a must. And with La Roche Posay, one of Consumer Reports' top rated sunscreens, it can also feel luxurious. And speaking of luxury, this splurge might be the beauty tool to rule them all, the Dyson Supersonic.
Dyson Supersonic certainly lives up to its status as a luxury product. Our testers gave it top marks when it came to drying speed, and it's also one of the quietest models we've tested. I personally love it, and it's a favorite of our editors as well.
And let the self care continue with some healthy snacking. You can upgrade movie night with this Dash popcorn maker. Consumer Reports found it delivered a lighter, toastier flavor in only 2 minutes. With popcorn in hand, you'll be ready to snuggle up under this 15-pound weighted throw by gravity blanket. Consumer Reports liked its super soft micro plush duvet cover in fun colors like plum, teal, and gold.
If you're looking for a little luxury, a silk eye mask is the way to do it. It's going to help you catch some Z's on a plane or at home.
I would really like a weighted blanket right now with these temperatures. And I know I'm a wimp. Okay. 60s to me is cold. Can't do it. So I will invest in one of those weighted heated blankets. I might be using that. So if you want to learn about some of those products that's been tested by Consumer Reports and get the ratings, you can head to clickorlando.com/insider and let us know how you like to treat yourself, how you get some self-care in. We'd love to hear what you like to do. All right, we do have a programming note for all of you loyal New 6 viewers. We do have some coverage of UEFA Championships league games that CBS is covering today and tomorrow for 4 and 4:30. So our newscasts will be on clickorlando.com and our New 6 Plus app that you can access through your smart TV. So we just want to let you know it's starting at 2 o'clock and it's going to interrupt our 4 o'clock newscast just on the air. You could still catch it on our streaming website. Thank you so much for joining us for Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm Crystal Moyer. See you tomorrow.